Hi everyone, I'm Sean, your English tutor. Welcome back. Nice to see you again. I wanted to come back and talk about this topic of phrasal verbs that you can use in business once again. Phrasal verbs are so important and you really should try to incorporate them in your language on a daily basis because they really are part of the language. Before we get started in talking about the 5 phrasal verbs that I have for you today, I would like to remind you of a couple of things. The first reminder is that phrasal verbs are verbs. So we need to conjugate them exactly the way you do phrasal verbs, or other verbs I should say. And don't forget, if you're talking about them in the past, conjugate the verbs. Don't forget that part. The second point is, and there are only 2, so the second point is that phrasal verbs frequently have multiple meanings. So if the verbs that I mentioned today, you say, well, I know that, but it has a different meaning. Well, don't worry, because they have multiple meanings and you're just going to learn perhaps a new one today. So let's get started with the 5 that I have for you today. The first one we're going to talk about is add up. Okay, so it's not add up to, but add up. And in this case, add up means to make sense. So you could say, you know, the explanation that you gave in the meeting didn't add up. I need more information. So add up in this case means to make sense. So if it's negative, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. So there's the first one. Another is factor in. Now you might say, well, when I use the word factor in, it sounds like I'm talking about perhaps numbers, and that definitely can be the case. We use factor in perhaps when we're talking about including something in a calculation, but we can also use it to say that we want to take something into consideration. So, you know, when I'm thinking about how many days I need to take for my vacation, I have to remind the boss to factor in all of the hours of overtime that I worked during the weekends. So to take those hours into consideration. That's 2. So here's 3. Keep up with. Keep up with. That basically just means to stay up to date with information. Are you keeping up with the latest news in your area, in your profession? We need to keep up with the financial news so we know how best to invest our money. Keep up with the financial news. Here's a 4th. Come up. Come up. So this is not a physical movement, come up. No, in this case, it means to happen or arise unexpectedly. So maybe someone says to their staff, I'm sorry, staff, but look, we have to postpone the meeting again because something urgent has come up. Hopefully nothing urgent or important will come up next time so we can have our meeting on time. So that's 4. And that was come up. The final one we'll talk about for today at least is branch out. So that is exactly as it sounds. We think of the trees of a branch that branch outward. So for example, it's used to express that we want to expand our interest into another area. For example, if a company is selling shoes, but now they're thinking maybe it's a good idea to sell shirts, then we might say that they want to branch out into another area. An example could be Anna is no longer working for the company because she has finally decided to branch out on her own, and now she's so happy. Well, I am also very happy to have shared these 5 phrasal verbs with you. If you already know them, think of what other meanings they may have. Don't forget the 2 tips that I gave you at the beginning, and that is, don't forget to conjugate the phrasal verbs, and don't forget that they have multiple meanings. Continue learning phrasal verbs. It really does make a big difference in the quality of your English. So keep on learning. Once again, I'm Sean, your English tutor. A pleasure to be with you again, and we'll see you again hopefully a lot sooner than the last time. Have a great day.